Hey everyone, I'm back. It's been a minute. If you watched my last video, you know I am desperately trying to get a bunch of yard work done while the weather is reasonable and the weeds have not yet taken over. It's a long, sad story of gardeners, the service people, blah blah. Actually, the people who did the work were great. They just didn't get paid to do everything that was honestly needed. So, anyway, I'm still making up for it. And I do have chronic illness that really it takes a lot out of me when I do that kind of stuff. Plus, I'm allergic to the world, so I had hoped that I would have the energy to do a lot of stuff, to at least come in and watercolor on video a little bit, or do some mess, make March on video a little bit. But honestly, it takes me a few days of no yard work, full recovery kind of situation to get to the point where I am in a state you would even want to listen to. I tried recording some videos. They did not go well. This is not going well. But I am doing a little bit better. I've had a couple days off. The yard work is coming along. It gives me great hope. So I kind of thought I'd just show you some stuff that I've been doing. And, yeah, have a little bit of fun. Let me grab these things too. Grabbing all kinds of stuff. This is the tie for my paper bag journal. Just get that out of the way. So for the 100-day project, I am watercoloring every day, and it doesn't have to be a lot. In fact, I was playing around with these. These are my wonky stamps, my wonky label stamps that I stamped. I just love them. They have so much character. Again, if it's something you're interested in either learning how to make, or if it's something that you think you would buy, like from my Etsy shop, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, they're just little rubber stamps I carve. And I stamped onto a variety of surfaces. I did have some on some watercolor paper. They're lovely, but, and of course the watercoloring on them is lovely, but cutting watercolor paper is not fun on your hands. It can be a bit of a bear. And the stuff is really heavy, which sometimes you want a really heavy label. Sometimes you want a really flimsy label to collage onto stuff. So I've been painting with some neutral colored watercolors so far, and some coffee. That's what the brown is. It's coffee. I have some cold brew instant coffee here. I have a whole giant container. I just put a little bit in here, and then whenever I want some coffee to paint with, I just put it in a little palette or a little tray, pour some water in, and boom, coffee for watercolor. So that's thing one. I don't know if I have shown off this, and I will show more of it soon. There'll be a fodder school YouTube hop coming up, I think in April, and this notebook started as my fodder school notebook, but then I also started adding more stuff that I've been working on, so it's not just fodder school limited, and that includes my 100 days tracker. So we're 12 days in, and every day, excuse me for the yawns, every day that I watercolor, I then mark it off in here with a little bit of light watercolor, so mostly not showing through. And this is 10 squares down, so I have to do 10 across, and then we're covered. These, I was so out of it on the 4th day that I couldn't, and I was redoing some stuff in my craft room. I just didn't get around to watercoloring, so I did 2 different things on the 5th day to make up for it. Because if you're not going to be kind to yourself when you're doing challenges, like, When are you? It's an easy time to be kind to yourself. One of the other things I did while I was trying to be kind to myself and continue to be creative is I made this really cool, I guess it's kind of it's not quite Franken paper in the traditional sense. A lot of times people don't use a base, but I have a bunch of this really thin packing paper that's perfect as a base for something like this. So I literally just took a bag of fabric scraps and a bag of paper scraps, really small ones, sat in front of the TV with a glue stick, glued them on, let it all dry. And a few days later, went over with some stitching. I'm also planning to do some hand stitching on this. And then I'll probably cut it up to make tags and who knows what. I really like it. I think it's going to be something that I'm going to do a lot of. Just playing with paper and coming up with interesting layers and textures has been a joy. This is another one. If you want to see what I do in detail, I'm happy to do one of these on camera. But it really is just glue and scraps together on some very lightweight paper. Whoop! There goes some watercolors. I thought I'd show you a few of the watercolors I've done for my 100 Days project. But let me pick up what I've just dropped. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's cat hair. Okay, so I did a whole page of these little pansies. And then, much to the chagrin of my hands, cut them out. Because again, watercolor paper, just not fun to cut. Maybe it is for you. If you have hand strength, 10 times greater than mine, which probably is not that hard to do, then you too might find cutting out of watercolor paper is no big deal. But it's amazing how much transforms when you just add a little ink definition and cut things out. They didn't feel particularly special or beautiful on the paper I did them on. I mean, I do love the way the colors bleed, and I was using some of my beloved granulating, super granulating type colors to do them, and I can just never get enough of those. So there's that, obviously, but they didn't feel that special. And I cut them out. Look at this cute little orange guy on top. He's so tiny and sweet. I may try and scan these. I've got some different kinds of things like this that I'm thinking I may scan just to upload as ephemera. Because, see, I could have avoided cutting these out of the watercolor paper, uploaded everything, manipulated that, printed it out on much thinner paper, and then cut that. And I probably still will do that, but I could have avoided the pain and suffering altogether. Except now I get to use these beautiful, nice, thick pansies in anything. So not like it's terrible that I did it. This I did in a video. I just, again, like, these are with those White Nights Metamorphosis watercolors. And between mixing them together, I'm doing some of them just in the squares alone. It's just, I can't get enough of this piece. That I think I will upload, because I can imagine doing some fun digital kits or ephemera with that. And then I did this sweet, I drew this and inked it ages ago, so long ago. And then finally came back and watercolored it. God, how do you listen to me yawn? I apologize. I wish it didn't happen. It's just, I think part of the allergies and part of the fatigue that sort of reigns supreme over my life. Anyhow, I'm looking to do a little bit more work in my paper bag journal today. So far this guy, mostly done. I should really pull the deli paper out at this point. Oh, I did have a book board in here. I missed it. I had to steal one from a different book. I'm going to put that right back where it goes with the other book before I forget. This tortoise and hare that still needs a lot of work. But today, I kind of wanted to work on one of these pages, which actually is probably a terrible idea with this paper. So maybe we're doing another not bendy page spread. I need to come back and start working on these because I really want to play with them, and I haven't yet. But yeah, these papers here are very fragile. They disintegrate. I mean, you touch them and they just fall apart. I got this old book that full of them. It's an old gardening book. I love the images. I love the color of the paper. Let me get some more of the paper. I've got a whole bin where I've sat just this paper. And at this point, really, I think the only thing it's any good for is collaging, and I mean very loose, informal collage. But I just look at this patina foxing. Like, look at how rich this color is. It's gorgeous. It's botanical. It's everything I love. But it is really impossible to use in any of the ways that I normally would want to use a book page, like in a junk journal to create elements or ephemera. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm just gonna break it up and use it to collage. I did paint over it. I've got some paint I've been trying to use up, and I thought maybe that would add a little bit more structure and strength. Still pretty hard to do much with. See, there it is. Popped it and it broke right across that line, but it's a little better. So I do have some of that. I don't know that it's worth doing that painting on these pages, since they're still really only good for collage, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna let these be flimsy and break and do what they do. And I may even try and keep some of these little bits that break off and throw them on top of the collage once we get it done. But I've just got some gel medium here. This one's from the Crafters Workshop. I do like their stuff. It does have a weirder smell than some of the others, if I'm honest. But it functions great. So, you know, we can get over a funky smell. It's just all acrylic paint has some sort of smell, really. So I went with this versus a fluid medium, because again, I really I want to get it down and leave it alone since it's such fragile paper. And so I didn't want to have to mess with it too much or go over it too much. Just kind of get it down. And the reason that this still works for collage is because we're gonna put it on another piece of paper, so it's gonna have that foundation. And then we're just gonna encase it in this medium, this gel, which is gonna give it a little bit of hydration. I mean, I assume that's one of the reasons that it's breaking apart like that, is that the pages are brittle and dry. But it's also, so it's going to give it some pliability because acrylic is essentially plastic, and then it's going to be something we can use as a background for other work. So, I find, and just, if you're someone who has a chronic illness and really, fights with your energy levels like I do, or sometimes I have brain fog that just frankly makes it hard to even think about, like I can't think creatively because my brain is like not on, which probably kind of the case today, which is why I sound a little bit brain dead. I don't do well when I am not creative. Like I need creative outlets. I need to get in here and play with paper and color and paint and scissors and stuff. And if I don't do that, my mental health really feels it. I honestly feel like I'm even lower energy as a result. Like I fill up my tank by doing creative stuff, but sometimes my tank is already so depleted that it's hard to have the energy to do the creative stuff, right? I don't know if I'm making sense. I think if this is something you deal with, then it probably does make sense to you. I have just a variety of things that I do to keep myself creative during those periods. The first thing I do is I absolve myself of any expectation that I am going to make something that amounts to finished art. Like, if I somehow breathe into life, breathe into being a finished painting that I am proud of and want to put in my portfolio, great. That's awesome. It is not the goal. It is not expected. Now is not the time. All right, we added some cat hair in addition to some of these little bits. Cat hair just strengthens everything too. So, when you think about it, it's people who don't have cat hair in their work, they just missing out. So yeah, I'm not looking to do anything other than make and play and use those tools for me. And that makes a huge difference immediately. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is I just pick up anything that inspires me that I can engage with without those expectations. So partly right now, that's my watercoloring. Some of the watercoloring that I've done for this 100-day project is, painting in those labels that I'm going to cut out anyway. So I don't even have to paint within the lines to count it done. I have watercolor notebooks, or one notebook that is just all like abstract. So I will just lay down, I'll pick up a palette that I feel like using that day, lay down some color from that palette, boom, done. That's it. I organize. Oftentimes when I don't have the energy to do a lot of art, part of what I want to do, honestly, is just like touch my stuff. I've gone through the effort of collecting art supplies and papers and things that I love. And it's like I want to spend quality time with those things. So maybe I'm not in a position where I'm going to do any real serious professional level arting. Cool. I just want to interact with the things that make me happy. And so I will pick them up and organize. So if you are someone who has trouble getting or staying organized in your space, the biggest recommendation I can make, and it's still not going to work for everybody, we organize differently. We have different organizational needs and preferences. Like nothing works for everybody. But one thing that works for me is that I will use these lower energy periods as an opportunity to organize stuff that's maybe gotten a little out of hand. And that does a couple things. One, like I said, it just gives me the opportunity to interact with my stuff, and have some quality time engaging with my art stuff, which is frankly always happy. It's always a happy time. But then I also set myself up for success later because I can, find things. A lot of times I will rediscover some paper or medium that I maybe didn't necessarily forget that I had, but just it hadn't been on the forefront of my mind. And it'll kind of show back up and I'll start to get inspired. And sometimes I will even stop organizing and start making because something inspired me and I feel like I have the energy to do it. And so I'll just start doing it right there, which is awesome. So that's a great way to, I think, be creative. Organizing things is a creative activity. Like, you have to think about how you want your stuff arranged so that it will be useful to you. That is creative work. So organizing your stuff is a great way to spend your time when you don't have the energy to, again, like, make a full-scale painting. If you're someone who, makes journals, makes paintings, those kinds of things, now is that is not the time to start making a new journal from soup to nuts or pull out, a canvas or an art panel of some kind and start on a big painting. I mean, it can be. I love painting backgrounds. It's just the goal is not to finish any sort of thing. It's really just do. And in fact, that's actually, I have a bunch of handmade notebooks. Do I have any? Thought I had some hanging around nearby. Oh, there we go. I have these no blank pages notebooks that I made. And a lot of them are made with papers that have stuff on them. That's part of the point, that they're not blank. So stuff like this. And I've been going in and just laying paint down. Using up some craft paints that I've got that they work and they're good, but I bought sets with colors that I don't always love, or things like that, and they were great for getting me started, especially on the gel plate. But sometimes I just need a little layer of paint. I apparently have not put as much into this particular book as in others. So other than this page or the spread here, there's not a lot to show. I think I've got more potentially in this one. Let's find out. Maybe not. Well, there's one. So I just go in and take some of the paint colors that I've got that I'm trying to use and lay them down in the book and cover stuff up and give myself a jumping off point for later. Yeah, these are the two I've done the least in. I have this dusty pink. Actually, there you go. See, I used it on these papers that I'm trying to use up. It's just not, I like pink, but I don't really like muted pinks and dusty pinks as much as I like brighter pinks. I've been mixing it with some brighter pink to sort of pull it into a color that I would be interested and inspired by. So things like that, right? I took those journals. I haven't done really any actual art in them yet. I'm just in the process of putting layers down for myself now that I can use later when I have more energy. So this is probably going to be where I'm at for, I'm going to guess, at least all of March, because I got a lot of ground to cover, literally, because I'm using some landscape fabric to give myself a leg up. And I know there's all kinds of pros and cons to landscape fabric. And so if you are against landscape fabric, and you are welcome to tell me anything you want in the comments, but I get it. It's just, I can't have another year of grass weeds growing so quickly that I go out and pull them out of one patch of garden one day, and within a week they're already back, because there's way too many beds, and mulch is not strong enough. I don't want to, spend my entire life spraying weed killer. Ew. And so to avoid, a ton of chemicals, and a ton of weeds, they literally killed several of the plants we put in, because, I didn't want to water the weeds and help them grow even more. And they just choked out the plants. So this year, I don't want that. And that means I need to spend some time covering up the areas where our actual garden plants don't live. And I can go out and weed when it's not too hot, and stay out there for a couple hours, no problem. Although it does catch up with me eventually. But then I need to go back and cover it with the landscape fabric, which does take a lot out of me. So it's going to be like that until I can get all areas weeded and covered over with the fabric. And then it's just going to realistically take me a while. And while it's happening, I'm going to be battling my spring allergies and the chronic fatigue. And so, yeah, you'll see me when you see me, and I'll do what I can manage. By the way, I don't know if I properly explained this other than to exclaim that I found my book board. This is just a really heavy piece of chipboard. It was probably almost definitely the back of pad of art paper or something. But this journal of paper bags is squishy and flimsy and moves a lot. So if I want to have a sort of a harder surface to collage onto, to draw and paint onto, I need a book board, something sturdy, and I've fed it into the pocket here, so it's directly under the page I'm working on. And because I haven't closed up the middle of this yet, I can even feed it right there under the area in between if I want, or all the way to this edge, which is probably what I'm going to do here now, so I can get this whole spread covered. And again, look at this paper. It's so pretty. And I couldn't. I love the book. I even tried to find the book online to see if I could maybe find a copy where the paper was in better condition, but it's really hard to tell how brittle the pages are through online searches. And in the end, I didn't want to double my inventory of this brittle paper, because while I will find a way to use it, I am not letting this gorgeous paper go to waste. It's a thick book. I have a lot of it. I am going to be lousy with this stuff for years, and yeah, so love this paper, love the book, love just Latin names of flowers is frankly something that I am always happy to have in the background of anything I'm doing. So if that's going to be, what a lot of my my collage paper backgrounds are made of, that's plenty fine with me. So it breaks. Oh, it breaks. I touch it and it breaks. And so then you get all of these weird little paper bits. But again, I I'm not wasting this stuff. So we're going to get a whole spread covered with these papers, either in their raw form or the ones that I did take the time to paint on, which I do like. I mean, it's kind of nice that I cohesively have this paper in multiple forms, even if it's not, even if I'm not going to paint more. I don't know, I keep going back and forth. I mean, it really does help add just a little extra strength to the paper, but if I'm collaging with it like this, that really doesn't matter anymore. So at this point, it's just adding some additional colors and interest, I suppose. Fine with me. Yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that I'm doing now when I have some time and energy to spend sort of recovering from my outdoors time. It is looking like it's going to rain some, and I was pushing myself at the beginning of this week to get as much done as I could before the rain came. And eventually my body just said, no, we're taking a break. You're taking a break. So I took a break. Even though that means that now that I'm feeling a little bit better, the weather is not quite as ideal. We're having record heat in central Arkansas today, as in, like, we might actually break a record because it's going to get up into the 80s again. We've had a couple of 80 or nearly 80 degree days starting in February, which just is not the weather I want in late winter. It just isn't. You know, I love when the days get into maybe the high 60s and are overcast. That's what I want from my spring. I can sit outside and pull weeds with my little weeding tool for quite a while under that circumstance. And so I am hoping for more of those days. And then I will even go out in the morning when it's like 40 degrees and have a whole morning of weeding without sweating, which is magical. And that's a big part of why I've been able to get a lot done. So I'm hoping it will cool back down. We're going to get, it looks like maybe storms tomorrow. And I'm hoping that once the storm front finishes and blows through, that we get some nicer weeding weather. Until then, I'll have to stay inside, and honestly, I have housework I have to get done too. I'm doing some work in my garage, which is very disorganized. And I'm trying to make it so that I have a station where I can go out and do my messiest work, which might include doing different types of dyeing papers and letting them dry. It's not so much that that's messy as it just takes up a lot of space, laying papers out to dry and stuff, especially if I want to use things like stencils. And then I picked up a massive amount of, well, not a massive amount. I picked up some new egg dye kits, Easter egg dye kits, which I tried last year. Natasha from Treasure Books talked about using Easter egg dye, and I tried it and I love it. So obviously that's not for neutral papers, but if you like color in your papers, and you want to do something other than the typical, like, Tim Holtz distress spray stains and oxides, you will get some interesting different effects with Easter egg dye. So I still have a bunch left, but you know, it's not something I can find year round in the shops. So since it's close to Easter right now, while I am filming this, I am I picked up, I think, 3 different kits. So, and I will definitely, once I'm in the garage, be spraying a lot more because I won't be as worried. A lot of times I try to keep things very contained. In here, I use a splat box, although honestly, like, we will have to replace this carpet when we move anyway. But like, let's not add to that or get, you know, spray on things like electronic equipment or my sewing machine. So yeah, the goal is when I want to do a lot of spraying or other mess making, I want to be able to go out to the garage, even though it'll be unbelievably hot before summer even hits. It's definitely something I can go out for brief periods of time. And hopefully the heat will even help with things like drying papers. So I need to set that up and do some other, you know, routine, boring, stupid, annoying housework. But when I'm not doing that, I get to be in here playing until the weather cooperates for another round of weeding. So that's the plan. May even be able to record another video. I can't promise that it will be less rambly than this one, but hopefully you've been enjoying all of the updates and musings and tips and whatnots while I continue to collage. And I just gotta say, like, this paper bag journal, I don't know if it's maybe the most interesting or glamorous thing, but it's been a lot of fun. Again, I love a gorgeous notebook. I really do. I'm not gonna say that I'm immune from buying them, because I am not. I own plenty of gorgeous notebooks. I gave in. I have wanted the Dina Wakley ledger. It's not a blank ledger. It's got like marks like an old school completed antique or vintage ledger in it. I have wanted that thing since it released. I've seen people play with it online, and I tell myself I don't need it. And I even have literally a tiny vintage old school, like antique or almost antique ledger that I bought that I'm going to work in, except I'm terrified because once I use it up, it will be gone, and I won't be able to buy it ever again because it's one of a kind, and so that's very scary, and who wants to work and stuff like that, except I definitely do. So anyway, I finally just gave in. It was 20% off, and I had to. I've been staring at it too long. It's finally time. I have 5,000 journals and I like to make my own, but you know, we're going to add this to the pile of unfinished journals, and I am okay with that because I have to be. So, but this thing has been great for the exact opposite reason. I love the kind of journals that just inspire me and make me want to do all kinds of really cool stuff because they're pretty and interesting and they have cool marks maybe already, or like the Dina Wakley one. Or honestly, working in books that are not precious, like this paper bag journal or those little tiny ones where I was using up paint that I showed you, right? Oh, I got a bunch of this medium on my table over here, so I will need to use that. I love those because they're so easy to pick up and use because they don't feel precious in the slightest. Like, I can't possibly ruin this thing. It's paper bags that I stuck together with old fabric strips, um, some of which are very unattractive, but I had gotten them in a box, a thrift haul, and I needed to do something with them. So I was like, great, you're now the tabs for my tab bound paper bag journal. Um, it's just like, this thing is honestly ugly and unwieldy, and that makes it so easy to come in and just do whatever I feel like and not have any fear of messing something up or wasting something. And honest, I'm pretty good. I know a lot of people have trouble and worry about wasting things, and I used to, and I don't hoard nearly as much anymore. I don't worry. I'm kind of like, I bought it because I wanted to use it, so let's use the good paint and the interesting paper and, that kind of stuff. That's why I got it. But it still feels kind of big when you have something really nice that you're working in. It's actually the opposite of the kind of work I can do right now. Like, it's very easy to come in and work in this when I have no energy, because it does not matter what I do. I'm getting medium everywhere. But when I don't have that energy and I don't know what I'm working on and I don't know what I'm doing, it's a lot harder to pick up something like that Dina Wakley journal or some other dedicated or special kind of piece and try to work in it, because I just have that, like, this is special and it's meant for great things, and I am not doing great things right now. And so all I can recommend is get yourself an unimportant, unassuming, basic journal, or make one out of paper bags. And I can do a tutorial. I just have to collect more paper bags first. But I could certainly even walk through what I did. Yeah. And then use your gorgeous but cruddy quality papers in it to do a collage background. That's something you can do when you have basically no more energy than is required to be awake. And with that, I am going to take a break and hang it up, and I will come back again hopefully soon. And who knows what we'll do together. It will probably be another low energy, low effort activity. Frankly, aren't those kind of the best? So thanks. If you stuck around this long, thank you. I know I am not probably my most energetic and entertaining self at the moment, but I really appreciate having you here. It's always better to make art with friends. If this is something that you enjoyed, definitely hit the like button, subscribe, click that bell so that you get notified whenever I post something new. Because if you like me when I'm like this, then you will probably also like me when I'm at my best. And that means we should be buddies and best friends and make more art together. And thank you, and I love you. And hopefully I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone.